Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Assistant Chief of Patrol Services South, Lachey Makel. We're here today to announce an arrest in a homicide case that claimed the lives of two men and injured an additional two victims, one of which was a 2-year-old child. Today's news is a testament to the diligence and tenacity of our homicide detectives, who spent the last 3.5 months pouring through evidence, working leads, and following up on community tips. All that effort paid off this morning, and for more information on the case, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Captain Jeffrey Wade of the Criminal Investigation Division.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Captain Jeffrey Wade of the Criminal Investigations Division, Homicide Branch. On Thursday, July 18th, at approximately 11:20 a.m., 7th District officers responded to the sound of gunshots near the intersection of 23rd Street and Alabama Avenue Southeast. 4 shooting victims were located on that scene, 3 adult males and a 2-year-old young girl. Unfortunately, despite life-saving measures, 2 of the men, 29-year-old Lamont Street of Capitol Heights, Maryland, and 50-year-old Jermaine Proctor of Southeast D.C., were later pronounced dead. The 2-year-old girl and a third man were treated for their injuries, and thankfully, both survived this incident. Our team immediately got to work combing through the evidence to track down the suspects responsible for this senseless shooting. Our investigation quickly revealed that the suspects arrived in a vehicle, exited the vehicle, and opened fire on the men who were standing near the intersection. The 2-year-old girl and a group from a nearby daycare were unfortunately caught in the crossfire. The case was immediately assigned to our detectives at the Homicide Branch. Our detectives quickly pulled and analyzed surveillance images and followed up with community members, generating leads and narrowing in on a suspect. Our investigation progressed thanks to their tireless efforts. Earlier this morning, members of our Capital Area Regional Fugitive Task Force located 25-year-old Andre Green of Southeast D.C. Green was charged pursuant to a D.C. Superior Court arrest warrant with first-degree murder while armed for his role in this shooting. We would like to thank our community for their assistance with this case. We know that the brazenness of the suspects in this case shocked the community, and we appreciate their cooperation with our investigation. I would also like to recognize the lead detective on this case, Detective John Pugh, and his partners at the Homicide Branch Squad 1 for their dedicated work on this case. We know Mr. Green was not the sole suspect responsible for this shooting, and we continue to work to hold other suspects accountable. I would like to remind the public that anyone who may have information that can help us with this case should call us at 202-727-9099, or they can text us anonymously at 50411. Thank you, and we'll now take any questions.
You have a motive in this case why the shooting took place, premeditated, so
Yes, so I will say that this investigation is still ongoing as we have outstanding suspects, so I'm not going to get into the specific details of the crime.
And you have many about suspects even,
There are several, but I'm not going to go beyond that.
Take us back to that day. To remember, there were some reports about 2 different cars. I think one car, there's a getaway car, there's another car somewhere parked at the middle. I'm not too sure. Suspects got out, fled, and popped in. Can you take us back and confirm what actually happened there?
So there are details surrounding 2 cars. Some of that information was released, and I know some of that information is out there in the public. I can confirm that we have 2 cars involved in this. However, the details specifically related to those 2 vehicles in this shooting investigation, at this point in time, I'm not going to get into right now.
So is it fair to say those 2 cars are suspect vehicles and you're leading into both of those cars, correct?
We recovered 2 cars with this investigation connected to this investigation.
Can you say if I understood that's part of the shooting? To answer, I understood the 2 people that occurred on that street when they the targets that they happened there at
So that specifically is hard to say. A group was targeted. At this point, it's unknown individually who in that group may have been targeted, but we know that some of the individuals out there were in that group.
Does this person, did they see the child, or the child was still more of a stray bullet situation with the child?
What person? The suspects?
The suspects in this case, was the child still, or just an innocent bystander?
Yes. So the individuals associated with that daycare, to include the child victim, were not with the group or near the group that was being shot at.
And the kids they were out when they, to my memory correct, they were on the video. How many kids were there? What was happening? How that 2-year-old good hiding that?
So there was a group of children out there with the employees from the daycare early learning center that were on a walk. and they were all together under adult supervision.
So I
Saying,
think
I believe saying how there then stand on to Mr. Green,
At this point, due to the fact that we have outstanding suspects and this remains an open investigation, I cannot.
I'll take two more. So I had a chance to talk to the daycare owner in this situation. She talked about all these things she did to try to make her area safe, and she did at the time say she wanted more police presence because it's been hard to operate a daycare because what goes around goes on in that area. What has been done since this shooting? Have you answered any of those calls from this daycare to even patrol what is happening to
Thank you for that question. I can take that. So, absolutely. So the daycare center has had wraparound services since this occurred, and we had a very, very strong conversation with the daycare owner, where we went into specifically what she would need to feel for the community and for those individuals to feel safe going forward. Additional patrols, services, therapy services for the employees. So really, a whole of government approach to try to bring some calm to a chaotic situation.
So that still continues to this day.
So that was prior to the request. Those are the things that were requested, and that's what we granted.
I do have one more question. You confirmed, I'm not too sure if you touched on it. Where was Andre Greda?
He was apprehended in Southeast within our 6th district.
Thank you, everybody.